All right. Well, welcome one and all to the Self-Made Monsters podcast. I'm calling it that because this is just the regular podcast. It's not the movie one. It's not anything else. It's just a regular one where we sit down, we talk about random bullshit that's going on in our lives. The mundanity of it all. I'm your host, Big Black Noir. This is my co-host.
Trail.
You just change it up every single time.
I really don't. It's more so just I don't have a brand yet like you do. Like, it always makes me feel this is Big Black Noir, and it sounds like this cool FBI, CIA agent.
Man, that is not what nobody is saying that when I tell everybody like, oh, what's your on that Big Black Noir? They're like, first they're either people who immediately get what noir is, and they go like, so your name is Big Black? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's supposed to be Big Black Dark, but whatever. Or they just got done watching The Boys on Amazon, and they go like, oh, you mean like the hero from The Boys? I'm like, no, I did my thing before I knew about who Black Noir was. And they're like, why is it called Big Black Noir? I don't know. It just, you're gonna remember it, don't you? And they go like, well, yeah.
See, that's branding, and
or they think it's like BBC, and I'm like, I mean, I guess, but like that wasn't the intention either.
I was gonna leave the unspoken. Yeah, it sounds like a porn name.
Those are the three things that people think of. They either think of the show, they either think I don't know, I didn't know what I was thinking when I said it, or they think it's about my dick, and it's none of those. I just really like Big Black Noir.
All right, it's a cool name. So then bring it back to the core thing at hand. I don't have that yet, so it always kind of catches me back with, it's like, damn, we're doing these things, and I don't. What name do I use? Oh God, the anxiety. So it sounds like I'm unsure. Like, hey, Trail, man, call me Trey. I don't care. I'm just here to talk shit about shit.
But yeah, you do need some kind of branding though out there. Like, you really do. Like, think of a catchy name. Like, I don't know. Just say Trey Dog.
No.
Don't know why I said dog. Don't know why I said dog. I'm like, Trey Dog.
No. T-Dog.
Right?
Yeah, that sounds. That's what you're trying to do to me right now.
I don't know. How about Maverick? Just be Maverick from now on. Why not Maverick?
I don't like the co-pilot motif, and it makes me think of that Community episode where Abed and Troy get sewn together in their co-pilot's uniforms and get psychic powers.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's not the first thing I would go to. I thought you were gonna like Top Gun, Maverick.
Never seen Top Gun, so
You've never seen the straightest homoerotic movie of all time, Top Gun.
I thought that was 300.
You've never seen the second most straightest, most homoerotic movie of all time, Top Gun.
I have not. But this ever-expanding list, which is going to be a common topic of discussion for this, of movies that I have to watch or I have never seen, that is getting put on it.
Okay, well, just to explain why I say that, it's only because of one scene in particular.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things, but it's just one scene. There's a big beach volleyball scene, and all the guys are naked, and they're posing, and they're flexing, they're like, yeah, like that, right? And there's like no women around, and they're just all playing with each other, and they just, they're hugging and everything, and you're like, yeah, it's just like cool man stuff, but it's just shot in a way where you're like, this is not for like, it's like a female gaze type thing, but this isn't a movie marketed towards them because they're not going to be in the movie theater, so it's just you and a bunch of other guys just going like, yeah. It's like that thing where it's so straight that it wraps around to being gay, and that's the whole purpose of that's the whole point of Top Gun. But
all right,
and I
don't know. Now it's like, is he got a question mark and an asterisk next to? Do I need to watch this?
It's actually a really good movie. Like, they like, I went to the danger zone.
Like that's from that movie.
Yeah, that's from Top Gun.
Oh,
yeah, that's
wow.
where Archer is getting it from. It's from Top Gun.
Okay.
Danger zone, and it really an addictive song. And all he says is just danger zone. So he's like something, going into the fire, and you would think there'd be more words after that. No, it's just like fire, do 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 do. I went to the danger zone, and the music video is him in a hotel, and he's like humping on the bed or something, like danger zone. It has nothing to do with nothing.
Have any type of context with danger zone while humping in the bed.
It's like he's in the bed, just like humping and like hugging on pillows, and there's like intersplice stuff of like the Top Gun movie, and then like it kind of just the song ends out of nowhere, and it's just watch Top Gun. This is actually a really good movie, and there's a sequel. There's a sequel coming out.
Actually. Yeah, I heard about that.
Tom Cruise, our collective boy now, Miles Teller, Whiplash, Miles Teller, Bleed for This, Miles Teller, Project X, Miles fucking Teller. Thank you for your service, Miles Teller. Oh my God, do I know every Miles Teller movie? Fan Four Stick, Miles Teller. I don't care what anyone says. The first half of Fantastic Four was fucking great.
It lost me right around the point where NASA scientist, the father to the twins, well, adopted.
Yeah, Franklin Storm.
Yeah, right. The Storm children shows up to a high school
right
science fair.
But it was like an elementary school science fair because someone had a volcano.
It was like, why are you here? And you just so happen to recruit like a genius working on teleportation. Like, what era was this made in? And you didn't find him on YouTube.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right. That was fucking silly, But after that, everything else is great before they go to like the planet and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like Miles Teller was like had the perfect like kind of nerdy like what I thought Reed Richards was back in the day, or like how I thought Hank Pym was back in the day. That's another thing I'm gonna get on my high horse right now. There should be a real Hank Pym movie, beaten wife and everything. I know that sounds controversial. Let me explain.
No, it sounds impossible because you're basically telling Disney to let's make a movie about a guy who beats his wife. Disney is not going to do that. Well, granted, Disney did just buy Hamilton, and that dude wrote a whole expose about his affair and then posted it. So, I mean, who knows what Disney allow these days.
All I'm saying is Disney needs an R-rated movie, and it could be Hank Pym. Like, real Hank, I mean, they already have, like, Michael Douglas doing this whole thing. I'm just saying, you have Doctor Strange Mountain of Madness coming up. You can just go like, well, here in this other universe, Hank Pym was kind of an asshole. And let's see what's going on with that guy. But, that's just me, my Hank Pym thing. So this is just the longest intro ever. What the fuck is this podcast about, right? So
this is exactly what it's about. I feel like we've let them know what it's about. It's just us sitting in a room, letting our tangents go. Yeah. And see if we can get something out of it. Yeah, when I say get something out of it, I mean more so people get to explore the madness that is our minds, and they get to go on that journey with us as we talk about various topics throughout the day. There's no real dossier. Sometimes at some point we'll probably work towards having a dossier and making things be more regimented. But for right now, it's just what's on our mind and what we want to talk about, what we've been up to.
So that being said, what have you been up to?
Whole lot of nothing.
I mean, hey, that's the fucking dream, though.
I mean, yeah. Except for the fact that we're in the middle of a freaking crisis. Hey, let's take it. Let's bring down the emotions a bit, bring the level of the podcast and energy. Well, yeah, mostly just been working. Get to see how people choose to live their lives during a pandemic.
Choose to live their lives during a pandemic.
Because I work in the epicenter of it all, so I get to see a lot. And one thing I've noticed is it feels like people have seemed to stop caring.
Yeah. I've seen motherfuckers just outside, like, ever since they allowed, like, restaurants to, like, get back to, like, serving people and everything. They're, like, just sitting outside, just, like, full on, no mask and everything. Like, not sitting that far apart from each other, speaking loudly, walking around. And I'm just like, I'm just fucking...
People gonna be sick again.
It's like everybody's like, "Oh, it's over, bro. Coronavirus is done, bro." And I'm like, "No, this is exactly how a second wave starts, and that's what fucking Fauci's saying." He's like, "Yeah, second wave is gonna come," and I'm like,
"It's like all that sitting at home, it was for nothing, huh?" Yeah. And it rubs me the wrong way saying that because it makes me feel like all that time spent indoors for people who felt like they were making a sacrifice was for nothing.
Bro, maybe that's what I was feeling. Because I'm like, well, maybe not me. No. What am I
We are not the
because I stay inside anyway. Yeah, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm just like, excuse me, like I am a hero, aren't I?
And it's like I'm just doing what I already do. So. But yeah, so getting to see that firsthand has been wild. It's like I already knew most people don't know how to follow basic instructions, but when you're arguing with people about, hey, this isn't new. Stand 6 feet and wear a mask.
Did you see that clip of, was that a white dude at like a Costco or something? Like an old lady had told him like, hey, can you put on a mask? And like some dude came into like, he flipped his shit and then like some dude came in to like help the old lady. He was like, I feel threatened. I feel fucking threatened. Back the fuck up. And you can see him like actively flex his arm out, like going like
he hit the Shia LaBeouf.
He hit the Shia LaBeouf like, I feel threatened. Back the fuck up with your phone. And he walks away. And then so he got fired, obviously, because the internet was like, well,
can't behave that way, sir.
Like I think that's what I'm not saying that is the entirety of cancel culture, but I think like it has come down to people don't like rude people now, and they're like, well, we now have the ability to make you not be rude anymore. At the very least, here's the consequence for that. Get fired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. I feel a type of way about that sometimes, though. Like, I feel like...
Not really.
Was he an asshole? Yes. Do you deserve to get fired for that, though? I don't know.
Here's why I don't feel bad. It's certain levels to this. So when you were at that basic level, you just lost your job from this kind of behavior, yeah, that sucks. But the thing is, everyone nowadays can get their own little 15 seconds of fame. And from that, if you know what you're doing, you can kind of take off.
Yeah, that's true. You can
like he gonna be able to tell his story and get a little bit of money out of that, and eventually he's gonna find a job because it's gonna go away. People's collective consciousness does not have the ability or capacity to maintain
like
all of this crap that goes on a rapid fire basis.
True.
You will be remembered. It will suck for a while. You will be promptly forgotten. And guess what? That forgotten part is going to suck, especially if you don't manage to make some kind of money out of this.
True. And it's not like it was like some big like racist tirade. You're just being an asshole in the Costco.
Just being an asshole. Like that kind of low level stuff, yeah, you can be fine. Now, if you want some Sky Williams level of trashing your reputation,
I was
segue.
Like I said, I was talking to a friend the other day, and he had he ain't even made a tweet about it after we got done talking. He was like a friend called me up saying like, "What's happening in the FGC?" And I'm like, bro, like the shit that's been going down. Girls getting 20 girls getting roofied after an Evo party, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening?
16-year-old girls living in the mansion full of other grown people who only one of them knows who she is, being forced to work on a game, is being sexually taken advantage of. Let's start there and work our way back to this dude on like over 400 grand to people. Like,
you have more information on the Sky Williams because I haven't seen the video. Like, I didn't know. Like, when you brought up Sky Williams, I didn't like stop forget that he existed. But like, I hadn't seen him like post anything in a while, and I'm like. I would think sometimes, hey, whatever happened to Sky Williams? I really did like that iDubbbz video. I thought that iDubbbz video was okay, and I really enjoyed his production, and he has a charismatic personality when he's just talking mad shit and stuff like that, and even when he's being down on himself, I'm like, damn, this is pretty entertaining.
Him and Donkey talking trash to each other is just like, this is amazing.
You should be gunned down in the fucking what did Donkey say that got him banned from League? Like, you should be gunned down in the street like the degenerate you are. I thought that shit was wild when it happened back in the day. I was like, whoa.
Somebody's feelings was hurt.
Whoa, Jesus Christ. It's like he emailed right, he's like, can you let me back in the game? And then I said, no. What the fuck?
You just committed a massacre. Look how they plotted my book.
Oh my god.
But all that being said, not trying to get on the drama train, but it's it just rubs me the wrong way because there's been so much coming out about the FGC. It's so sad to see one of I don't want to call him the greats, but he to me he was up there. He was a black nerdy dude who, played the game hard and he cared about what he was doing. And to see that you was just doing everything you shouldn't be doing. And on top of that, you allowed heinous acts to happen around you just due to your own incompetence, I guess. And it's like, wow, it don't take much to rise. And dear God, it's almost impossible to hold it if you really didn't deserve it when you got up there.
That shit is wild, bro. Like, just wild. I have no words for it. It's just like fucking like, why is everybody so fucking weird and shit?
I say it all the time. You get more than 5 people in a room.
Stop fucking kids.
Somebody gonna come up with some schemes.
Why can't you just fuck somebody closer to your age?
Because that's hard, Derek.
That's the one that's gonna be taken out of context. That's the one that's gonna be taken. If for any reason, if we ever become famous for every, that is the one that's gonna be so taken out of context. They're like right here. Let me see. Yeah, at minute 15 or minute 15 of the first episode of the podcast, Trey said this. And I was like, God, here we go.
It's coming back.
And I'm just going to be the guy like, did nobody listen to the rest of that podcast?
Where I explain myself. But like, real shit. When you honestly think about it, these people, they get to a point where like, either their fame means they're not getting the kind of people they want, or the kind of people who they want don't want nothing to do with them, because there's levels to fame, there's clout chasers, there's all that stuff that comes with that. So eventually it gets to, well, who's someone I can mold into, I didn't want to say that, I can mold into being what I need, and it's impressionable, and they're coming to me. And on top of that, you're in a community that attracts youth. It's a bunch of older people and younger people intermingling, and people get lost in the woodworks.
True.
Like old girl that when it went down was kind of like, how the hell you end up in a house full of all these grown-ups? For how long? And nobody said or did anything? You sleep in the same, like, let's leave the fact, Scott even said he knew they were sleeping in the same room. It's like, they sleeping in the same bunk beds. How the hell the dude who stay on the top bunk not know what the fuck was going on in the bottom?
Yeah, that's weird. That's that R. Kelly situation right there.
Like,
security guard just like, that girl looks pretty young. I should probably... that's his business.
That's his business.
What the fuck? I still laugh about that R. Kelly interview all the time with Gayle King. While he's like, "You're killing me, man! This ain't about the music!"
That's basically a Scott Williams video. I just want to get my story out.
Did Twitch take it down or something like that? Somebody probably re-uploaded it.
It's probably still on Twitch, but it just felt disingenuous because, like, he monetized the video. He took donations during the video.
That's not
a subscriber-only mode.
That's really not... Okay, so monetize, I'm like, that's not a good look, but whatever. You're monetizing.
You monetize talking about other people's trauma.
The taking donations, that's really not a good look. But the whole subscriber-only thing, okay, that's really not a good look.
And he apparently, like, I popped into the screen. He did it because, like, people were spamming memes or whatnot. But then it just encouraged people to just subscribe to Talk Trash and Chat. And then he lowered the donation threshold to get your comments to come up so more people will be encouraged to donate and talk trash during the stream. And now it comes out, you owe multiple people extremely vast sums of money that you had no means to pay back. It puts that in a bad light because now it just feels like this was your last hurrah to try to scramble and get some money before it really hit the fan and legal fees start getting accounted in this money you start owing people.
Oh, gosh. Well, another fallen Titan. Another fallen Titan indeed.
Speaking of Titans, so I've been watching the Netflix Titan show.
Wait, there's a Netflix Titan show?
Yeah. About the Teen Titans. It's about Dick Grayson.
The live action.
Yeah, live action.
Oh, because I'm like, what the fuck? What?
The Go-Go Starfire.
Oh my god. Is it any good?
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that Sassy Black Starfire was something I needed in my life, but like they're doing a really good job.
I remember, when it first came on and people were going like, Starfire's black? The fuck is this?
It wasn't even so much Starfire was black. It's who's this ghetto Starfire? Because she had the big purple go-go hair. She had the go-go dress. And like the story does a really good job of setting up why the hell is she dressed this way in like the promo art? And it takes you there. Like, they justify it. I'm not going to spoil much, but
hold up. No, spoiler alert. A spoiler for anybody that doesn't want to know the first 2 episodes of Titan?
Yeah, about 2-3 episodes. I'll just go into that. About this.
Skip minute 20 to whatever the fuck ever. Please explain.
Okay, so she wakes up in Europe with amnesia.
Okay.
And all she knows is she's trying to find this girl named Rachel, who you find out later to be Raven.
Oh.
And due to different circumstances, like it follows Dick, Raven, and Starfire at different points, and like the timeline slowly converge. I love that they did that. Mm-hmm. And it's Dick arriving in Detroit, and then it's Rachel leaving her home in suburbs of Michigan because somebody shows up and like murders her mom. This is episode 1, whatever. And she has to flee to Detroit, and like they all converge on because Starfire's trying to find out who the hell is this girl I'm hunting, and why don't I remember anything, and why are people hunting me?
Oh.
Okay. Like all these storylines converge. They do a really good job of getting us used to them. I love what they're doing with Dick Grayson. They're really capturing like what would happen. Like let's explore the years around the time Dick like said fuck Batman.
Yeah. You have to go through that teenage phase eventually.
Eventually, you got to grow up and step away from the mentor, and it goes through that him dealing with that, and no, slight spoiler alert. He finds out how he really addresses those feelings when he meets the new Robin.
Jason Todd?
Yes.
Oh, they have Jay. Oh,
yes.
Okay. I didn't know about this.
Grayson is the mentor of the Titans.
Hold up. I did not know they got into the whole Jason Todd business. All right.
It's a slight age description in what you normally used to be.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson, Starfire are the older ones. Rachel, Beast Boy, and
Hold up, real quick. Side thing. Because my mind is blanking. Who's the third Robin?
Oh, shit.
Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, blank.
And then it's a chick Robin.
There's a chick Robin, and then fucking Damian Wayne.
Is it the third Robin, Damian Wayne?
No. There is, because he's the. If Dick Grayson is the original because he turns into Nightwing. He's the all-arounder. Jason Todd is the fighter. This
Jason Todd's the one that died.
Jason Todd is the one who dies, becomes Red Hood. But the third one is like he's like the actual best detective because he's the one who figured out Bruce Wayne was Batman and just like, hey, you're Batman. And Bruce was like, I don't like that you knew that, but you can be Robin. What's his name?
I don't remember. Just Google it.
Tom? No, I'm not gonna. No, Tom. We can do this. We're adults. We understand comics. We know this.
I don't. I thought it was Damian Wayne. I thought third Robin was Damian. I didn't even know about one that figured him out. I was going to say, wait, isn't that the chick? Oh no, my phone wasn't on silent. Oh no.
I don't think my phone's on silent either.
I'm going to get yelled at, but I'll call back later.
Jeremiah? No, that's stupid.
Anyway, we're getting past the point of the spoiler. We'll figure this out.
Okay.
But it covers that era and it's like, it's only 2 seasons. It's really good. Fight scenes can be a little corny, especially when they decide to have fight scenes where people are not in their suits. Mm-hmm. You know, Beast Boy is kind of a wet noodle of a character. If you love Beast Boy from the TV show, from the old cartoon, this Beast Boy is just going to feel like you're trying to capture that and it's just not working.
Ooh, that's a shame.
It really is. Rachel, I feel like there's potential for her character, but they're playing up the whole she's a kid, she don't know what the hell she's doing, she's starting to control, and this isn't the Raven we got where Raven was Raven and she had spent the time with the monks learning how, it's the monks of Azarath, right?
Yeah, Azeroth, Metriel, Zinthos.
Yeah, and she learned from these monks who taught her and trained her how to maintain her emotional state. This is a Rachel who grew up normally and is dealing with that. So, it's a really interesting show. I think it's got a lot of potential. I hope it gets a 3rd season. And a lot of the hate it got, it didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
It's a little wonky at times, but from what I've seen with the Flash TV show and Green Arrow, there's no more wonky than those shows.
I really do enjoy Flash and Green Arrow. Like, the first season of Flash was fucking fantastic to me. The whole the guy, Tom Covigan, the guy who plays Harrison Wells, I was like, this is a brilliant fucking actor. When they revealed, I'm not gonna do the whole spoiler, fuck you if you haven't seen Flash by this point.
I haven't seen Flash. This was gonna be my attempt to watch the first.
Oh my god, I'm glad I didn't say anything.
Also, it's fuck them, but not fuck the viewers.
Wow.
I actively avoided the CW shows.
Why?
Honestly, I didn't like the cheesy acting and costumes when I first saw them. But watching Titans just made me go, you know what? I can kind of look past cheesy acting and costumes. Well, not so much acting. Titans has some decent acting. Cheesy costumes and animations if the story is good enough.
All I can say is that after season 1 of Arrow, they really start to ground that out, and it got a lot more natural after that. The first season of Arrow it feels wonky because he's doing this whole thing where Oliver is like, and I'm back, and I'm just killing folks with a bow, and he gets a security guard on it, Diggle, and everything, but then, like, there's an incident that happens that makes him go like, I can't kill anybody now, I have to honor his memory and stuff, and that's where you're like, nah, that's stupid. Just keep killing folks. You're doing just fine with that. Like you were doing your job great.
Oh, if you like
things
that
were getting done,
storyline, you would really appreciate Titans because Dick's whole arc is he walked away from Batman because he felt like he was becoming more brutal than Batman. Like the show starts with him literally like breaking ankles and like looking.
Oh, is that where the clip comes like fuck Batman?
Yeah, that's actually opening clips. Like the first time you see him, like he takes out a group of robbers and he's like, "Fuck Batman." He's like, "Man," because they start talking shit. And he shows up, "Man, where the Bat at? Yeah, man, where's Batman?" And he gets pissed and proceeds to like brutally beat them down. And in a scene that like every scene he fights makes me uncomfortable because of how brutal it is.
Oh fuck!
He makes other characters who show up feel uncomfortable.
You know
like
what?
Hawk and Dove show up if they're DC characters, they're kind of prominent in the show. Yeah. They show up and like Hawk is like, "Yo, that dude is a psycho." Because he told Dove, I don't want to show up. They asked him for help with a sting. He didn't want to show up. He didn't want to do it. Like, nah, you don't understand what I've become. No, you'll be fine. And then he shows up to back them up because things go bad because Hawk is starting to slow down.
Yeah.
And he shows up and saves them. And it's just like, after he walks up, and let's just say he ends up pulling his robberang out, the one that's on his chest, he throws at people out of somebody's skull socket and then putting it back on without wiping the blood.
Ooh.
Yeah, Robin is like, it's dark.
Ooh. Ooh, it's always the first son. It's always the first son. It's always the first son.
You got what you wanted.
Oh wow!
But he's worried about the darkness inside of him.
Yeah, they touched on that a little bit in the old TV show with the Teen Titans thing, with the whole Slade, Deathstroke and stuff like that. I was like, oh,
Slade is in it.
What?
Now that's second season stuff, but he shows up and he has a very awesome intro scene. If you love his intro scene from not the one where you see him with his daughter from damn, what is that movie? It won an Oscar.
Wait, what?
With Margot Robbie. Oh my god. What is the damn it? Suicide Squad.
Oh my god, yeah.
It did win an Oscar, right?
It did win an Oscar.
Suicide Squad, when they introduced Deathstroke and Suicide Squad, when Will Smith has a nice little shooting montage, they kind of improve on that.
Okay.
And it's like, it's amazing.
Suicide Squad really did win a fucking Oscar. The world is a strange, strange place, man. The world is a strange, strange place.
People gonna like what they like.
People are gonna like what they like, but you know what they like ends up being trash stuff. So, well, I mean, but hey, at least Parasite won. At least Parasite won. Yeah, I've not seen Parasite. Come on!
I'm behind. I'm trying to catch up. I just saw La La Land.
This is half of what we talk about in our podcasts and stuff.
And it gives us fuel in our movie podcast, Self-Made Monsters movie reviews on Big Black Noir on YouTube.
Thank you.
But that's primarily why I like doing that podcast, because it gets me to watch other movies. It lets me find new directors and go check out new stuff like La La Land, Whiplash, great movies. When I watch more of this guy's stuff. The director, what's his name?
Damien Chazelle.
Thank you, Damien Chazelle. Love his stuff. Going to continue to follow his work and just I'm gonna check out Parasite. Like, it gets added to the list and it gets watched.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm looking forward to us seeing Parasite and having the same opinion, because I think there's only one way to really interpret Parasite, and that's like the whole thing about class inequality. But you'll see it when you get to it. Okay. It's a fine film. Everybody is glad that it won, except for like one Southern guy who was just like, what the fuck is Parasite? That fucking Joker is the best fucking movie. It should have won a fucking Oscar for best film. It talks about the real traveling fucking... He talks just like that. I feel like it's like I'm slightly making fun, but he really does talk just like that. And he did later apologize, saying like, he meant to say like, I'd never seen Parasite, so why the fuck do I care about it? Joker is my favorite film. And I'm like, yeah, but you did it in such an inflammatory way of people going like, nah.
It feels like he was kind of aggressive against it.
Stupid take. But
I still don't understand so much hype that Joker got.
Joaquin Phoenix put in a magnificent performance.
Have people forgotten Taxi Driver?
Kind of, a bit. The only thing people remember out of Taxi Driver is... You talking to me?
That's such a minor portion of the movie that doesn't even matter because the thing he practiced, he did not do. But old movie hot takes, because whatever. But Joker is literally that, except it makes no sense because the mental health crisis wasn't really the focus of the late 80s.
It wasn't.
But it's always trying to shoehorn this narrative about mental health being like at really unsatisfactory levels for the kind of help that some of these people need, who have these disorders that society typically would shun upon because they don't understand it. And I get that narrative, but it's like you're forcing this message.
Yeah. The mixing stuff of the class inequality with Thomas Wayne and everything that's going on beneath him, and like what those three bankers were supposed to represent, and you're like, well, that's kind of confusing everything with this whole mental breakdown message. And I'm like, it's just everywhere. I think that's it, because with Taxi Driver, it's this is my favorite term, one through line through that movie on the narrative of our Taxi Driver. With Joker, there's two messages they're trying to push, and they both suffer for the other one's existence. If you want to do this insanity, he needs help, not going to help, the system is broken story. Sure, this whole story about like how it's generational sometime with mental health and how they like the sins of our parents affect us through our lives. Cool. When you try to force this whole class divide narrative with this whole false story his mom fed him, it's just like, you go from trying to make him sympathetic to like, all right, look, dude, what are you doing? Society laughs at him, but they won't laugh with him. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but bro, I did think that scene at the end was actually pretty funny. You're like, what do you get when you met a mentally ill person with a society? Well, you get what you fucking deserve. And I only laugh about it because I see memes about it, where, like when he shoots him, they're like, vibe check, and I'm like, he felt the vibe check. God, that's why I like it though. You get what you fucking deserve. I'm loving the remixes they did with like Goofy and Mickey Mouse with it, because they were like, what do you get when you out a mentally ill patient with a society who doesn't understand? What do you get? You get what you fucking deserve. And it fucking worked. The guy Brock, I forget his name, because he did like Brock Dubs or something like that. He's on like overdubs for like NFL games and stuff like that. He did one for like Marriage Story, like that big fight they have in the middle of Marriage Story. He replaced it with like Goofy and Mickey Mouse. You're like, I can't fucking believe that you would do this to me, haha. And just like, if I could, I wish you were fucking hit by a car. You die. And I'm like, it's still very emotional though, even when you hear Goofy and shit like that. Oh my god, that's crazy. So Derek, what have you been playing lately? What have I been playing lately? Okay, I've been playing Control all over again. Control is a game by Remedy, written by Sam Lake. If you don't know who Sam Lake is, you know who Sam Lake is, because all of you played Max Payne before. You know that guy with that big stupid smile, like in the original Max Payne? That was Sam Lake, because they didn't have enough money and they just had to like hire anybody around the studio to be extras and stand-ins for characters. All right, Control is this fucking amazing. It's like SCP, the game. You start SCP? That's why I said SCP. No, what is SCP? Oh, what is secure control fucking I don't know. SCP is this like internet forum thing where all these stories come about this like paranatural organization that handles like paranatural bullshit that happens, like these things that like once you like look away or blink, they'll like come at you and try to eat you or something like that, kind of like the Weeping Angels from like Doctor Who. And like in Control, it's like this building is called the Federal Bureau of Control, and it handles all these things called altered items that through people just like giving like obsessing over them or like giving like credence to them, they like have become altered in some way, like a fucking like a fucking there's one there where there's a balloon and it has unlimited helium and it just stays floated, but there's like a black goo that seeps out from the balloon and no animal's supposed to touch it. And like you pick up these reports in the game and it goes like so and so redacted and there's like things missing from everything about it. Or like there's this rubber ducky that just like moves everywhere. It just like disappears and goes anywhere. You can never catch it. You don't know why. Or I'm trying to think of like other shit. Like there's this floppy disk, right, that was taken from this like Russian nuclear site that had like the nuclear codes on it, but for some reason it has imbued itself with like the ability to like make things like fly and stuff like that. So it has this like ability to like pull things into itself and launch it at other people, like launching and stuff like that. And so the mix of lore that is in this game with the buttery smooth controls of like the gunplay of like running around, running and gunning and shooting enemies just makes all this come together in this like the way that it's told out to you and this like things that these little nuggets that you find about the lore of this place and like how it plays out with the main character, Jesse, and you're like trying to figure out what happened to you all these years ago, where in the game they called it Alter World Events at AWE, where like a whole bunch of weird supernatural shit happens, and I'm not making any sense, and I'm going around in circles, but
let's dial it back and go. Who do you control, and what is their place in the story?
You play as this girl named Jessie Faden, who comes to the Federal Bureau of Control because she's being led by this kind of supernatural feeling. She's trying to find her brother Dylan, and
the supernatural feeling is heavily implied to be the player, you.
Yes and no. Like the supernatural being has a name in the game, like, and it's inferred that they are actually their own entity. But the way she talks about it in the first person because she says like, you led me here, you're doing this and that. But the way that it's doing it and everything like that, you're controlling her to do these particular things. So I'm pretty sure there's this meta narrative about how like Polaris is like the actual like gamer themselves and like propelling her forward to do this certain thing. Or like how the main enemy is the Hiss, and they're like invading everything, and they have this incantation that they say over and over and over again. It's like whenever they come on screen, it's like how you drop like blood and like water, and you see it like form out and like like get all squiggly and stuff and like that. Imagine like dropping like instead of like one drop into a cup, you drop like an entire another cup of blood into that water. It consumes and like goes over everything. You see this like black red thing like crawl all over the screen because it's like supposed to be infecting. It won't contain itself. It just goes everywhere and stuff like that. And yeah, man, this shit's just really cool. it's just fucking cool. That's what I've been playing all over again. My thoughts are scattered, obviously, about Control.
I can tell you have a lot of opinions about this
but game. I just don't know how to put it into, like, one concrete feel. All I can say is that the game has an amazing atmosphere. It's heavy, it's kind of scary, and it has this amazing lore behind it, like, reading behind all the different, like, files that you can. And it does it at such an interesting pace with the powers that it gives you that you're not going to be able to put it down for a couple of hours at a time. It really brings you along, and it just feels so good to play. Okay. And like I mentioned this to you, like it's the only game I've beaten since 2013 or 2014 because I've just been playing Destiny for all these years. Destiny is like the one game I've put like 2,500, 3,000 hours into it now.
The MMO that got you.
Yeah, it's just like, I never played MMOs before that. Like, you tried to get me into World of Warcraft back when we were younger, and I just didn't get it, and I just didn't gel with it. And I think that's when I first realized that I'm tired of, like, high fantasy stuff. But when I got Destiny for the first time, I honestly didn't get it. I thought this was kind of silly that I have to like go on YouTube to find the story because the way they gave you the story was like fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's what drove me from Destiny originally because it's like there was no story in Destiny.
There's a literal girl. There's a literal person there, the Exo Stranger, who says, "I have no time to explain why I have no time to explain."
That's like the second cutscene in the game.
That's like one of the main big cut. That's like the third. That's like the fourth or fifth cutscene. But yeah, and like it's all varied. Like even when you hear the story for the first time, like the darkness. Like what? The dark? Are you kidding? The darkness?
This is a bedtime story.
But you kind of find out the darkness is a real tangible thing. So it's like they figured out what they were really wanted to do. Because like there's a big story by Jason Schreier, formerly of Kotaku.com, now Bloomberg, about how there was an actual original story in Destiny, but that all got scrapped at the last minute, and then they had to like do a whole bunch of other stuff. But there is a lot of lore in Destiny, and you really have to go to YouTube to really find it from like people who like know it best, like My Name is by Sir Wallen, and oh my god, there's one more person. My Name is by Sir Wallen, and I'm forgetting the other guy, Mylan Games. Wow, sorry, Mylan. And those are the three people who know the lore best, and they explain it in such a interesting way that you're able to follow along and like really get attached to it. Because in the game of Destiny, the closest thing to a story are the guns themselves, because each gun has flavor text. Well, at least back in D1, they have flavor text. Like there will be an auto rifle called Dr. No, or like an auto rifle called Atheon's Epilogue. What the fuck is that shit? What? Vex Mythoclast? What the fuck is going on? But each gun has its own particular story and history. And like through these stories, that's how you end up making the entire story of Destiny. Because each one has like a history tied to it. Like one of the biggest stories in D1, and which like after I really got into the story of these two handguns in the game, that's when I got really into Destiny, and that's when it was like I was set. And there was another thing, like the first raid, but we're gonna get into that in like a short minute. But there's a story about these two guns called The Last Word and Thorn. Right? It's this simple kind of Western story. And in the first, you have to go to Thorn. Right? It was held by a man known as Dredgen Yor. Dredgen Yor wasn't just a man; he was a force of nature to be reckoned with. When people saw him, they would immediately cry and scream because they knew that their end was nigh, it was near. Because he once was a man of the people, he was a hero, and people looked up to him. But one time, the man saw something on the moon that scared him shitless forever. And since then he changed. He thought that there's no way that light can win against the darkness, and at once was a rose at the side of his hip, his trusty rose that he would use to cut down the darkness. But one night, the man just stood under a tree and just dissipated away. Different flesh, different bone, but very much the same man that was, but now gone. And once stood a rose is now a crusty thorn at his side, right? So how's this tie into The Last Word? So Dredgen Yor goes on this rampage, killing folks, telling them that there's a way that you can actually get through this, and you're going to have to scream and go through a lot of darkness, and I'm going to show you that darkness, right? And that leads into what Jaren Ward. Jaren Ward was a hunter. There's 3 classes in Destiny: Titan, Hunter, Warlock. They all kind of serve a different purpose, because in the world of Destiny, you're basically a reanimated zombie. That's not important. The point is, Jaren Ward was a man, and he was an honorable man. He would go to cities after like the big thing happened. He would go to cities and help people out. And he had this particular gun called The Last Word, right? And there was this one time he went to the city. There's this like small time dictator there, and he's just controlling everybody. And there's this kid named Shin Malfur who like really gets attached to Jaren, but this dictator's like, I don't like you being here, and Jaren's like, I'm gonna have the last word about that. Shoots everybody dead with like 1 bullet each. Big, just like big dick energy just everywhere with one gun, just like that, and like puts it away, right? So one day when he's leading people up to try to go to the main last city, right? He feels that he's being followed by somebody. Right, he can't tell who's by, but he knows this is a powerful person who's following him. So he goes like, all right, I need you guys to stay here. I need to go handle what's going on out there. And Shin's like, I don't trust it because Shin's like can feel it too. But Jiren's like, I got to keep you guys safe. And sure enough, he comes across Dredgen Yor, the man who has Thorn. And Dredgen Yor cuts down Jaren Ward and a couple of swift shots that everybody hears in the background. They hear like gunshots going off. They hear 6 shots come from the last word, and they hear this thudding, crackling sound from Thorn, and it cuts down Jaren Ward straight through his fucking eyes. And that's the end of Jaren Ward. And so, what ends up happening is that Shin Malphur ends up finding the last word and swears that he's gonna hunt down Dredgen Yor. And then years later, after hearing legend of where Dredgen Yor has been, he goes to the moon to find him. He goes to different planets to find him. He ends up finding Dredgen Yor back on Earth. And Dredgen Yor says, like, I've been waiting for you. And he's like, I'm gonna cut you down now. And Dredgen Yor, when it's like high noon, drawn at high noon. And Dredgen Yor doesn't draw. He just lets himself get killed for whatever reason. And Shin Malphur cuts him down and finally has the last final word. But he feels unsatisfied. Because what was all the point of it? Right? Now, the rest of this story is explained later. This is just what happened in D1. Mm-hmm. But those are just flavor text on fucking guns. And it gives you so much weight when you're using them in PvP and you're like, fuck yeah, boy! I'm fucking out Jaren Ward, boy! Oh my god! And because, like, back in D1, those guns were, like, really fucking good. Like, they had to be nerfed twice. They had to be nerfed to the fucking ground. Because you could shoot somebody twice with the Thorn gun and walk away because it had this, like, thing where it, like, burned them in instantly. Boy, if I had you, like, shot you twice, no matter where it was on your body, twice, I'm gonna walk away. I don't need to deal with you anymore. You're about to die from poison. And it doesn't matter what you did. You're dead. And, like, Thorn was just, like, you didn't have to aim down sights. You can just shoot it straight from the hip, right? Now, I say all of this to say this, is that I never encountered anything like this before in my life about how games could work like this. Like, I wasn't in the first-person shooters. Like, I didn't grow up playing Call of Duty. I didn't play any Battlefield. I didn't play any of that shit. This was my, like, first-person shooter.
And even when I tried to get you in the World of Warcraft all them years ago, you never put the time in to get to the in-game content, because that's kind of what it turns into, where it's like, you like the dungeons, you like what you're doing, but it's mainly about getting gear and, like, the stories behind the gear, the stories behind the dungeons. Who cares that we're running Heroic Ulduar? I just want this goddamn hammer off this boss. I want to beat Ymir and get his rocket boots. Like, you're doing it to get the cool thing off the boss.
Yes, exactly that. And that's what leads me to the other thing, the in-game stuff. So I did all the Destiny stuff. And this is going to be our last story because we're running short on time here. But, like, I did all the Destiny stuff. I went through all the original story, which was underwhelming to say the least. But, you know, I was still, like, getting into it. Like, I'm still kind of liking everything. And then something happens, right? There's this planet you can go to on Venus, right? There's this thing in the middle of Venus at this open space that has this big circle corridor, right? This big circle cylinder. And you can't get in it. You're like, what the fuck is this? There's a bunch of powerful enemies here that I'm being light checked with, that they're fucking me up. Why can't I get in here? You know, you learn that this is the place of the first raid. The Vault of Glass. This is a raid that in the story's history, 3 different guardians went in there. And they're all lost to time. Kabir the Legionless, Praedyth the man lost to time, and Parahin. All right, and they're all changed irreparably. Ooh, I can't say that word. Irreparably? Oh my god. They're all changed from that. Kabir goes missing in the Vault of Glass. Praedyth apparently goes missing in the Vault of Glass, and Pahanin is the only one to come out surviving, but he's so spooked by everything he saw. He builds a fucking self-sufficient AI machine gun that refunds you your ammo whenever you miss. he did the best out of the situation. But so the Vault of Glass is the first raid, and Destiny is a six man thing, right? And it was just, I never experienced a raid before. I never experienced, like, being in a group of 5 other people, like, figure out mechanics and, like, this thing to get a reward. It was just so amazing. Like, there was secrets around every corner. Like, you can jump around here and then do that. And then when you defeat this boss, there's a secret place you can go up there to get more loot and then jump down there. And there was just so much, and it was just overwhelming. And that's when I was hooked. Mm-hmm. That's what hooked me. Doing that raid for the first time. That's when I was like, this is it. This is my game. And 3,000 hours later.
7 years.
7 years later, I'm still playing Destiny. Not as, like, I'm slowing down slightly, but I'm still in there. I'm still doing every big major event. I'm still buying every fucking DLC, every fucking season. And I don't pre-order anything. Except Destiny. And that is just... So, I say all this to say all this. Control is the first game I've beat in a while. Like, sat down and beat it the whole way through. Control reminded me how good games could be. I have forgotten that games could be anything but a looter shooter and a fucking contentious relationship with a company that decides to keep taking good things away from us because we want loot. But like, you can't play the game like that. We don't want you to get the loot too fast. Like, fuck you. I just want the loot in the God roll. Why can't I just get it? Let me get it. And they're like, no, Bungie. I never had that kind of relationship with a company before, but yeah, Control made me realize games are more than that. They're good. I forgot games could be great and like be this like single experience. I think like the game I had beat before that was like whatever before Destiny, whatever Uncharted came before on Destiny. That was the last game I had beat before Control.
And that's Uncharted is a good series, but like as far as game hierarchy and storytelling goes, I mean that's more like a movie than an actual video game.
Yeah,
it's not so much an interactive experience; it's an experience that interacts with you. That's good to hear, and I hear your enthusiasm. I kind of feel the same way because I kind of recently got into Destiny, mainly due to sitting and listening to you talk about it and watching you play.
I am gonna take you through your first raid, like honestly, God, like if maybe not tonight, but like. Tomorrow, if like all things go well, I'm just gonna get a bunch of the friends up and go like, all right, we're going through last. Mm-hmm. Either I take you through Last Wish, which is it's more similar to how Vault of Glass feels because there's a lot of like heavy mechanics in there, but like there's a lot of intrigue and a lot of stuff to do. Or I'll take you through Garden of Salvation, which is another Vex raid, which was like Vault of Glass because that was Vex. Mm-hmm. And Garden of Salvation is mechanically easier to figure out, but you need to be a little bit more perfect in terms of timing. But not really, no. It's only the last boss where like you need to have all your mechanic shit together, otherwise you guys are going to be stuck here for hours. Where Last Wish is a lot more intensive heavy. There's a part in Last Wish where you have to like people couldn't do like the race to like finish Last Wish was like 24 whole hours because people were like had to figure out like things about like star alignment in the sky because there was the like thing called penumbra and numbra and like there was this vault aspect to it and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? and then you learn that there's a wishing well in the middle of the raid where you can skip everything in the raid and just go to the final boss if you wanted to. You can just skip you can just skip everything and just go to the final boss. And it's just like, the fuck is happening in this raid? But it's really good. It's really
Sounds like
cool.
some World of Warcraft stuff. Because like one thing about Destiny was kind of hooked me in, and I don't know, you wouldn't have any context for this, is the peak of my World of Warcraft career was Wrath of the Lich King. That expansion is where like I feel WoW peaked for me and as a franchise, in my opinion. That's when they had the most accessibility without making it overly redundant. So like pro players, well, air quotes pro players, like still felt the challenge while rookie players could still get in and still have fun and work their way towards being somewhat of like intermediate and still have access to like a lot of the cool things, different awesome items that can only be found in most raids. So Destiny has that accessibility for me to hop in, get into like the thick of things and like kind of still know what's going on.
Okay.
And like, yeah, I'm excited to play more raids because like even the raiding mechanics, like the one you just mentioned, where you like hop in and skip the whole thing, that just reminds me of Oh crap! It's a raid in Wrath of Lich King where you're fighting against a corrupted red dragonflight, and you can literally skip most of the bosses and mini bosses and go straight to the big boss. This is because it was a loot fight. Most people went to it just to get the gear for their raids to build up and get used to doing slight mechanics and simple mechanics. Slight mechanics like dodging, lava, and whatnot. Just little things. And yeah, like Destiny is a pretty solid game. I can hear your excitement. That's what got me into. Hopefully, people listening will feel that excitement.
Hopefully. Well, we're running short up on time here. We're about 55 minutes in. I want this to be just like 45 or like 30 minutes. I'm probably going to edit out that fucking Jaren Ward last word story and shit.
Oh, it's fine.
But, alright. So, any final words for our listeners out there?
For our listeners, give us some feedback and hopefully we can make this a little more interesting.
That this is already interesting. That don't give us any feedback. We're fucking geniuses at this shit.
Don't listen to him. That's the adrenaline and the high from talking about Destiny right now. You can see the mania in his eyes.
Dude, there's these little missions. Oh my god, you have the season.
You
have the season pass out. You can like play these like little.
We're gonna start fading out with the music now.